So before I start, please don't bully me. I'm ashamed to admit that I don't have a ton of experience with Metroidvania games. Sure, I've played the quintessential Castlevania Symphony of the Night and the more recent Ender Lilies, but that's about it. I've never played a Metroid game for longer than 10 minutes, I don't know a goddamn thing about Hollow Knight, and I honestly didn't know that Animal Well was a Metroidvania until I started writing the script. That lets you know how often I come out of the rock I live under. I find it a little odd how I've had a lot of fun with the only 2 games I've played, but I haven't tried another one since. I feel like something must be done to rectify this. But rather than picking up Super Metroid or some other predictable Metroidvania with critical acclaim, I will be checking out Gay Symphony of the Night, also known as Paradiso Guardian. And I'm not even exaggerating for clicks. This game's got everything a Castlevania fan would need. After images, some dude taking all of your equipment at the beginning of the game, literally the same damn spells, and my favorite, the evil library with menacing flying books. Paradiso Guardian takes place in Paradiso, the land of angels and all that is good. We play as Lenga Valentine, a battle angel twink sent on a mission to a castle that has been under attack by demons from the Inferno. It's a pretty simple premise. They explain it in just a few text lines and then you're in the game, soaking in the vibes and getting used to the movement, one-shotting all the punk-ass demons and exploring the entrance to the castle. Soon after, you run into the game's first boss, a giant knight with a giant sword that teaches you the most important mechanic in the game. More on that later. Once he's been disposed of, another angel makes an appearance. Rocking platinum blonde hair and a shirt that is way too tight for him, this is Radian, Lenga's adoptive father. Apparently, we received this mission by mistake and are underranked for it. He demands that we leave and head on home. Whatever you say, Daddy. Anything for you. I'm a good boy. Not even 5 minutes in and I've already got a bad ending. Worth it. Anyway, after refusing to leave and choosing to see this mission to the end, Daddy strips us of all our badass equipment and dips. We have no choice but to continue exploring the castle and slaying demons. While we do this, we visit many different locales and also meet quite a few friends that help us out during our journey. Shout out to Yokun who runs the store, he's always supplying me with that good shit. But besides the few shopkeepers in the game, you also come across acquaintances of Lenga who kinda give the game's story a little more structure, rather than just an exposition dump at the beginning and the rest at the very end of the game when you defeat the bad guy. Even with these side characters pitching in, it's quite clear that the story isn't the main selling point for this game. We're not here for the plot, but we're here for the plot, if you know what I'm saying. Sure, you could say you're just playing this game for the thoughtful gameplay, but when we see this in your Steam library, trust me, we know why it's there. I don't judge though. Keep doing you. Lord knows I have some questionable titles in mind. But unlike most other adult games I've heard about and totally haven't played myself, Paradiso Guardian is actually fun to play, and not just because I like to admire the art. It is very much a clone of Symphony of the Night, but it's not bad at all. For the most part, it plays nearly identical. You fight enemies while exploring the game and discover items, equipment, and upgrades that allow you to reach new areas. There's simple platforming and secret rooms you can find by hitting every wall you come across. Besides the interesting scenes that play out over the course of the playthrough, what sets this apart from its inspo is the Holy Flare system. Basically, it's a dodging mechanic that turns on bullet time whenever you successfully dodge an attack. This can be done on pretty much every attack in the game, no matter how weak or strong the enemy. It vastly increases the recovery of your MP, allowing you to spam spells. You can imagine how broken this mechanic is, and frankly, after getting better at dodging, it trivialized all the game's content. Though most enemies in the game have simple, easy to dodge attack patterns and are relatively squishy, The bosses are slightly more challenging to take down, but I guess that goes without saying. Before you can go up against whoever is leading the assault on the castle, there are 4 main bosses to take down. There's Floody, one of Lenga's close friends. Imagine some air quotes around the word friends, because I don't know if friends do the things that those two do. Radian sent Floody into the castle to take you back to Paradiso, so this ends up turning into a fight. This is like the first real challenge you come across, and it teaches you that dodging mechanics are mandatory. There are some heavy-hitting moves that could ruin your day, and the bosses don't mind using them repeatedly over the course of the battle. Besides Floody, there's Shutendoji, whose life goal is to make you his wife. I'm not complaining. He might actually be my favorite out of the 4 side characters. We love a good himbo. There's Vitos, who is a demon, but not the demon we're looking for. He's kind of boring. I don't have anything to say about him. And eventually we come across our daddy again, which I think is a little interesting as he can also activate Holy Flare just like you. He doesn't abuse it like I would, so I can't say the fight is all that difficult. After defeating one of these bosses, you are rewarded with a bonding scene. I will not show any of these on YouTube, but just imagine Lenga and any of these bosses chatting in a coffee shop, watching a baseball game with a beer in one hand and a glizzy in the other. Maybe they went to the movie theater to watch a new Marvel flick. The point is, Lenga gets closer to the character, and the strength of the relationship unlocks a bond skill. You can use these skills to call in one of your friends to help out during a fight. It doesn't consume MP, but they do have cooldowns after use. These are pretty cool, just another tool in your arsenal and provides incentives for bonding with your homies. Defeating all of the bosses in their respective areas of the castle will send them back to the hub zone near the shop. Everyone has their own room here, and you can check up on them anytime you like, and if you're lucky, you can catch them in the public bath. In the game, there are a lot of food items, and they serve many purposes. The first time you eat any food, you will receive a permanent stat bonus on top of the HP and MP you would normally recover from it. You could also give food to one of your friends in order to better your relationship with them. Each of the 4 guys have different tastes in food. For example, Floody gains more relationship points when you give him seafood as opposed to other kinds of food. I know Floody and Shutendoji will tell you exactly what they like to eat if you talk to them, but I had to figure out what Vitos and Radian like through trial and error. Once your relationship is strong enough, you can challenge them to 2 more fights that get progressively more difficult than your first encounter. Defeat them here and you will unlock more bond skills to use on top of more bonding scenes that are more intense, for lack of a better word. Yeah. I will say that it is a little disappointing story-wise. You would think that they would give us some sort of storyline related to the characters. There's an unrequited love hinted at during the scenes you have with Floody, but it's never explored in any meaningful way, and that's kind of all you get. I need some actual plot here, not just bro bonding, you feel me? There are more bosses and bond skills you can find in the game. Raiko probably is my favorite fight in the game. Don't know why he's optional. There's a lot of things to dodge, and it makes me feel like I'm good at video games when I do. Scattered throughout the castle, there are items that can be used in the shop to trigger more optional fights. These are cool, though I kind of wish they were just worked into the game somehow instead of just existing. After you beat them, you get a CG of the 2 bonding as a reward. Not even a written scene, just an image, but hey, they have one for all the furries. How inclusive. Although I am for the most part neutral toward how the story and characters are handled, I will say that I hate what they did for the final boss. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I don't remember a single time the super evil bad guy named Shadow Lord was mentioned by anyone. And who chose that fucking name? You just get to the last room in the castle and there he is. He dumps his lame ass plan that pretty much just stops after taking over the castle. You then get to fight him. His first phase is what you would expect after playing this game for a couple of hours, but can we talk about his second phase? He turns into a giant and does this suggestive ass axe kick. Like, dude, please put on some pants. I'm begging you. I don't know. His presence is lame, his motive is lame, his horns are pretty cool though. I still don't know who he is except for the fact that he's Vitos' brother, but I don't even know anything about Vitos, so that's meaningless to me. He's just whack as hell. I'm also not a fan of the lacking of things to do in the game. There's only a handful of secret rooms and there are no collectibles at all. There is Fizz's House of Hunky Men, where you unlock beefcakes by defeating a certain amount of them in the castle, and in exchange Fizz gives you money and items, but it's not super engaging. But despite all that, I had fun with this. Please don't send me to horny jail. I just got out. It's certainly not as good as Symphony of the Night, far from it, but I wasn't expecting it to be. For an adult game, it's surprisingly polished in almost every aspect. It's bite-sized, being only a couple hours long, but it never overstays its welcome. I'm sure if it was a full 10 hours, my enjoyment of it would take a hit. Burp. The level design leaves a bit to be desired, but it's okay knowing the type of game this is. I honestly was expecting an inverted castle to explore once you defeat the Shadow Lord, but the game just ends, and you also get the gnarliest bonding scene in the whole game. That shit was crazy. Paradiso Guardian is defo one of those games you shut your brain off to enjoy. Don't go in expecting anything other than decent gameplay and bonding between homies. The story only serves to facilitate everything else, and that's okay. As one of the girls, I do spend a bit of time learning about the lettuce, guac, bacon, and tomato games out there, and this one was quite refreshing. It's always nice to see queer games that are actual games. No offense to all the visual novels because there are some really good ones out there, but sometimes I want to play a game, not read a story, and Paradiso Guardian scratches this itch. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Happy belated Pride Month. I would have gotten this out in the month of June if I wasn't so busy trying to wife up March in Fields of Mystria.